Hello everyone, Charcoal here, and welcome to A Closer Look, the series where I choose a Wings of Fire tribe and take, you guessed it, a closer look. And thank you to ZeroVO on Discord for the series idea. Each video will cover 3 categories: biology, society, and history, and I'll end off by giving some final thoughts and giving the tribe an overall score. To kick off this new series, we're going to be taking a look at the SkyWings. Let's get started. SkyWings have what appear to be slender aerodynamic bodies with long, curvy horns and small spikes that run the whole length of their spine to the tip of their tail. They have huge wings that allow them to fly faster and longer than the other tribes without getting tired, and they can breathe fire hotter than the other tribes that can. The color of their scales can range anywhere from deep red like ruby to bright orange like scarlet. In the event of an egg-carrying twin, something strange may happen. One twin will hatch with too much fire and the other with none. The ones with too much fire are called fire scales. They seem to glow from the inside, and anything that touches them that can burn starts burning. Icewing Frost Breath only causes them temporary numbness instead of freezing them, and they're typically harder to kill due to weapons either burning up or melting on contact. As for the fireless ones, they are just that, fireless. They can't breathe fire and are often very weak and colored a sickly pale color. An example of such a pair would be Peril and Sky. SkyWings don't tolerate major differences in their kingdom, or at least they didn't. In centuries past, anytime one of the aforementioned twin anomalies happened, the dragonets would be dropped off a cliff. Same goes for any animus dragons that happen to emerge. They are working on correcting this mindset in recent times though. SkyWing names can take a few forms. Naming schemes include, but are not limited to, colors like vermilion and scarlet, gemstones like ruby and tourmaline, birds like kestrel and osprey, or mountainous things like cliff and avalanche. The SkyWings of Darkstalker's era were described by Fathom as the friendly tribe, very different from the more aggressive ones we know today, although it's entirely possible Fathom was just being sarcastic. Dragonets are raised in a place called the Wingery, where they spend most of their time with each other and learn to fly at a young age using structures in the room. SkyWings seem to value entertainment, often throwing extravagant parties full of orchestral music and dancing. They also enjoyed gladiator combat while the arena was still an arena. But what I find most interesting about them is their burial ritual. When a SkyWing dies, their body is wrapped in white cloth and left on the highest peaks for 7 days to offer it to the sky. The body is then burned so the dragon can be reincarnated as a SkyWing. This implication that they believe in reincarnation is so interesting and has so much potential, and I desperately wish it was touched on more. Thousands of years ago, SkyWings were just one of 9 dragon tribes to inhabit Pyria, which at the time was ruled by humans. Eventually, dragons began growing in number, and just over 5,000 years ago, they overthrew humans as the dominant race on the continent in an event known today as the Scorching. After the Scorching, the SkyWings settled into a kingdom in the mountainous region on the wing of the dragon-shaped continent. The earliest queen of the SkyWings that we know of was Queen Carmine, about 2,000 years ago in the era of Darkstalker. She oversaw a territory dispute with the Sea-Wings when the Sea-Wings began building villages along the SkyWings' eastern shore, so Carmine sent 2 diplomats to the Sea Kingdom for negotiations, Princess Sunset and another noble named Eagle. As you may know, this was the infamous party that acted as the backdrop for the Royal Sea-Wing Massacre, when Queen Lagoon's brother Albatross went crazy and murdered several dragons, one of them being Sunset. Eagle was injured but survived. The new Sea-Wing Queen, Pearl, struck a deal with Carmine to pay the SkyWings tributes of gems for 5 years in exchange for Carmine staying quiet about the massacre. Fast forward 2 millennia, and Princess Scarlet kills her mother in a royal challenge, making her the new queen of the SkyWings. She had 3 sisters and went on to have 12 daughters and 4 sons. All 3 sisters and 11 of the 12 daughters perished by her claws in royal challenges. When the War of Sandwing Succession broke out, the SkyWings found themselves in an alliance with Princess Byrne, and Scarlet had an arena constructed for prisoners of war to fight to the death in gladiator-style combat. She also began working with a Rainwing named Chameleon, who used Darkstalker's enchanted scroll to shapeshift between tribes. He would use his Icewing form, Cirrus, to infiltrate and spy on the Talons of Peace, who were looking to end the war. About a decade into the war, Chameleon's Skywing form, Soar, was entered into the breeding program, and he was paired up with a soldier named Kestrel. The 2 of them ended up producing one of those rare twin eggs, the Fire Skills one being Peril and the Fireless one being Sky. Kestrel did her best to keep her dragonets secret for about a year until Scarlet eventually found out. She told Kestrel she could keep one dragonet if she killed the other, so Kestrel pretended to kill Sky by dropping him into a river and hoping he would survive. He did, but he soon befriended a human named Ren and left with her before Kestrel could come back for him. Scarlet went back on her word and attempted to kill Peril, forcing Kestrel to flee and leave Peril behind. Kestrel went to join the Talons of Peace and was assigned to guard the Dragonets of Destiny, while Scarlet kept Peril for herself. Peril would eventually go on to become Scarlet's champion in the arena. Sometime later, Scarlet got Chameleon to change her 12th daughter, Tourmaline, into a different dragon named Ruby. Tourmaline had been planning to challenge Scarlet for the throne, so Scarlet made Ruby submissive and weak and trapped Tourmaline in that state for the next several years. On the night before the brightest night, the largest egg in the SkyWing hatchery was stolen by an Icewing named Veter, so the dragonet inside could become the SkyWing Dragonet of Destiny. Unfortunately, he was intercepted by Burn, who killed him and destroyed the egg. Check out the Falcon AU to see my take on what would happen if it survived. The next night, Scarlet gathered all the other eggs that were supposed to hatch that night and had Peril burn them up. Apparently there was another one missing, but it was only mentioned once and nothing is known about what happened to it. A few years after the brightest night, Chameleon's magic would be used to transform a captured Icewing prince, Hailstorm, into a fiercely loyal SkyWing soldier named Pyrite. Like Tourmaline, Hailstorm would be trapped in this alternate form for the next few years, and Pyrite would join Cirrus as a spy in the Talons of Peace. Meanwhile, Kestrel was very harsh on the Dragonets of Destiny, going so far as to agree to kill Glory without question. About 6.5 years after the brightest night, Scarlet leaves her palace to chase down a human named Leaf who'd stolen some of her treasure. At the same time, 2 Dragonets of Destiny, Clay and Tsunami, escape the cave they had been raised in. The 3 dragons encounter each other, Leaf escapes, and Scarlet follows Clay and Tsunami back to the cave. She kills another guardian, Dune, and captures the Dragonets and Kestrel. Clay, Tsunami, and Starflight are put in the arena, Sunny is set aside to go to Burn's Weirdling Tower, and Glory is displayed as art on Scarlet's balcony. Peril starts to bond with Clay, and after a couple days of arena fights, Scarlet holds a trial for Kestrel. She's about to be sentenced to death when Peril steps in and invokes a tradition known as the Champion's Shield, which allows Peril to fight on Kestrel's behalf. If Peril wins her next arena fight, Kestrel goes free. If not, she dies. On Scarlet's hatching day, Peril is put up against Clay, and in the middle of the battle, Glory uses her venom on Scarlet, permanently disfiguring her face and providing an opening for the Dragonets, Peril, and Kestrel to escape. Scarlet survived, but was captured by Burn and taken to the Weirdling Tower. Most SkyWings assumed she was dead, and Ruby succeeded her as the SkyWing Queen, and later pulled the tribe out of the war and turned the arena into a hospital for wounded soldiers. Meanwhile, Kestrel was killed by Blister. Several weeks later, Peril helped Scarlet escape Burn's stronghold during a siege. Peril would eventually leave Scarlet to be with the Dragonets of Destiny. 6 months after the War of Sandwing Succession ends, the Dragonets open Jade Mountain Academy and allow Peril to live there, but not as a student. The actual SkyWing students included a Dragonet named Carnelian, but she would unfortunately be killed in the History Cave bombing.
Did somebody say boom?
The Jade Winglet went out searching for Hailstorm, and the Talons of Peace sent Pyrite to help them. Hailstorm's brother Winter found out about the spell and freed Hailstorm, taking him back to the Ice Kingdom. When Ruby arrives at Jade Mountain to retrieve Carnelian's body, Scarlet briefly attacks the school, provoking Peril to go after her. She eventually meets Soar/Chameleon, who introduces himself as her father and uses an enchanted necklace to get rid of her fire scales and make her loyal to Scarlet again. After helping Scarlet retake the palace, Peril later realizes there are spells on her and Ruby and frees both of them. Tourmaline, now herself again, kills Scarlet in a royal challenge, solidifying her rule as queen. However, she chooses to be changed back into Ruby with her memories intact. Chameleon is imprisoned, but then escapes, for all of 20 minutes before Peril and the Jade Winglet hunt him down and take his scroll. Peril destroys the scroll and accidentally releases Darkstalker, falling under his influence along with everyone else. She's eventually freed when Darkstalker is defeated, and once the whole ordeal is done, Peril is made an official student of Jade Mountain Academy. Later on, when the Pantalan dragons come to Pyria, Ruby participates in a summit with the other queens to decide what to do about the Othermind situation and sends Sky on the mission to Pantala. And that's where the SkyWings history so far ends. So, my final thoughts? SkyWings definitely seem like the most basic Wings of Fire tribe. They're pretty much the typical medieval fire-breathing dragon. However, they have some interesting customs and feature some of the more iconic characters in the series like Peril and Scarlet. The tribe as a whole is honestly nothing spectacular, but they've got a lot going for them, which is more than I can say for some of the other tribes. Overall, I like them. 7 out of 10. Anyway, it's fan art time. Just one today, and it's from Firefang. Thank you, Firefang, and if any of you want to submit your own fan art, you can do so in my Discord server. This video was a lot of fun to make, and I look forward to doing the other tribes in the not too distant future. This has been Wings of Charcoal, and I will see you all in the next video.